I got a little quick before we get on to NIL, which everybody's going to want to know and hear. And I love you because I don't know how far into NIL you're going to go, but I know you're more honest than most dudes. So I can't wait to hear some of these answers. You and Hunter. All right, a quick 3 questions. And Hunter's going to hear this. We're going to make sure Hunter hears this. Number 1, who wins one-on-one, you and Hunter?
Me, for sure.
All right. Number 2, who has the higher vertical, you or Hunter?
Me, for sure.
Armando, do not let him ask terrible questions like this. You lead the freaking country in ACC and rebounding, and he's going to ask that question.
Hey, wait. Mondo, just ask Hummel what his vertical is.
Hey, I'm 33 years old. I'm old, so it doesn't even matter. But
he ducked me.
I cannot believe he asked you that.
He ducked me in New Orleans. We were supposed to have a vert contest, but Hummel was nowhere to be found. I'm 50 years old, and he's ducking me, Mondo. Like, come on.
That's the way to happen.
I don't want this old man to blow his Achilles trying to touch the first ring on the vertical jump test.
Probably a good move. Probably a good move. Who makes more threes? You or Hunter?
We had a shooting competition. It'd be close, but this year he made more threes than
me. He did. I give him credit. Like he had the green light too.
Yeah, I mean Hunter, he's been killing it for sure. Yeah. If he comes, he's gonna be up there in that Player of the Year consideration for sure.
All right, so let's get to NIL and how much that played in. We've seen Kofi leave early. We've seen Oscar come back, and you saw the number I'm sure that I put out there with Oscar. Yeah. Minimum of $2 million, I was told. Minimum.
Yeah, he deserves it all. He deserves it for sure.
Is it crazy when you saw that number, or were you not surprised at all?
I mean, he was a national player of the year, so I mean, I don't think it's crazy. And I mean, Oscar, great person.
Yeah.
He got family overseas, so I mean, just having the opportunity to have that money and possibly be able to, do whatever you want with it, I'm all for it.
I'm with you. I think it's really cool, especially for somebody like him who I know his family could use that money. So that's going to go a long way for his family.
Sure.
How much you decided you were coming back quickly? So my guess is they put together that NIL package for you pretty quick. How much did that play in?
No, I mean, it really didn't. I mean, it played somewhat of a role. Not like, how do I put it? I knew coming back, it would be a lot of opportunities just because UNC is such a huge school. And I mean, I know we got a lot of good fans, like as fans of the program. And I mean, NIL's been good, but I mean, a huge part for me too. I mean, I was injured, so I really couldn't do anything. I mean, I got good feedback, honestly, from just the NBA. I mean, it was great feedback. So, I mean, I feel like I was but in my situation, I just wanted to be able to go through that process and be as healthy as possible and put out the best product, because that's, I'm not in position of like Apollo Banchero to where I can go into something not being 100%, you know what I mean? So it was a lot of that. And I mean, I just wanted to come back another year just to be able to develop more. I mean, I love being at UNC. Like you said, I got the opportunity to make NIL money and, feel comfortable with doing that and, possibly whatever my situation would have been next year, just still being in a good position at school.
You've now been a college student athlete with no NIL because of the rule, and then now you're a college student athlete with NIL. I was telling Jeff before you got on, and I am so pro the players should be able to make money.
Yeah.
But I was saying when I was playing at Purdue, had there been NIL, there was a bar where if you spent $100, they'd give you a T-shirt. And I was like, I might have had 700 T-shirts if I was making that kind of money. Yeah, I would have, just because I don't think I was equipped to make the best decisions at that point in time. Have you noticed a difference? Like, has your experience changed at UNC with name, image, and likeness, or has it been pretty much the same?
I would say, yeah, it has changed just because there's so many different things you can do now. Like, and that's kind of somewhat a part of your schedule. It's a small part, like autograph signings. Like a lot of the players, we do that, make a good amount of money off that. I mean, appearances, in Chapel Hill, I got my own burgers, so I got to do restaurant appearances and things like that. So it's just a different dynamic that has been added to college basketball. But I mean, none of us on the team, we really went too crazy with just signing a bunch of partnerships because obviously that would take away from our schedule. But just having that extra money in your pocket for sure, it makes college even better.
Are you dealing?
Go ahead,
how
Jeff.
do you deal with? I assume you have somebody, you have an agent who filters everything to you. Is that kind of how it works for you?
Yeah, that's mainly how it works.
Because I mean, that's the one thing I don't want to say I worry about it, but I think some guys, if they're not mature and they don't maybe have an agent or whatever, they're looking at their phone all the time. It could be distracting, could it not?
100%. Because I mean, you get all these brands hitting you up, and then it's just a matter of you just throwing your name around, just trying to get as much money as possible. And in the long run, it doesn't look good once you sign with a bunch of different brands and do things like that. So I feel like having an agent or somebody in your corner that can work through that space is definitely pivotal.
We got to give Jimmy Seafood a plug while we're on here, by the way. They sent me some stuff, and it was good, like really good.
Yeah, no, they got good stuff. And John, he's a huge UNC fan. So.
Huge. This guy hits me up all the time about Carolina news, all the time. So
that's perks of being a part of UNC. You get these time with people like that.
Armando, how do you feel like with going to the Final Four that changes the NIL game for you? I mean, I feel like that just puts you on a pedestal as a player because it's so hard to get there. And especially at a brand like UNC, which is, one of the flagship programs of college basketball. How does that change things for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been crazy for all of us. Just that whole month of March and April. I mean, you could only imagine just through our merge, just everything, everything went crazy. And it's just been huge for us. And I mean, I guess it's kind of an incentive to win, even more of an incentive to win, just seeing how crazy it went in March. And for all of us, it was amazing.
And you mentioned balancing that. I guess just how challenging is that? Because I look at this as, even as a pro athlete, you start getting offers to make money and you're like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do this, it would be easy to say yes to everything, not understanding that, this time commitment is going to be insane.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I never try to do anything during the season. So unless in March, I did a few things like just appearances, just because it was kind of the thing that was going on in March with the team. But I try to stay away from deals where I got to do a bunch of appearances. Like I'll do social media posts and things like that, or like commercials. But that was all of us. We just really didn't want to do a lot of appearances during the season. So that was just our way of just not getting too deep into it.
So if there was an NIL, do you think you'd still come back to school? Or do you think you would have at least tested the waters and probably left?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been close for sure. It would have been, I mean, this decision was close, but it would have been probably even closer. I probably would have maybe leaned a little bit more towards leaving.
Yeah. I feel like with bigs, and again, we just went through a Kofi leaves, but how much do you think like enjoying school too plays into this? Because if you hate school, you're going to leave even if you have NIL opportunities, right? But like for bigs, you, Hunter, Oscar, Drew Timme still hasn't made his decision. Hunter hasn't yet. Trace Jackson Davis, all you guys, it's so different. And you and I talked about this a little bit at the Final Four, even, 10 years ago, you're all first round picks. Yeah. Now the game has changed where there's not as much value on you guys because you're not super athletic. You're not guys who stand out there and shoot the three. You're more traditional bigs. So none of you probably right now are locked first rounders.
Yeah.
So how much does that change the game for traditional bigs being able to stay in college longer?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just gives us more of a chance to, just to be able to develop and get even better. And especially like just having more time in college, it just, like I said, it gets you better. So when it's your time, you just go in and you're more ready than ever.
You feel like watching Hunter shoot threes? Like, have you talked to Hubert about that? And I know, obviously, you want to play within the framework of your team and make sure you utilize your strengths. But is that a conversation that you had a little bit of, hey, I'd like to be able to step out and, you show him any Hunter tape?
That's actually what he said to me. He was like, I couldn't come back if I, wouldn't make the jump and start shooting more and more threes.